Joining us now, Democratic Congressman from Maryland, Glenn Ivey, who represents about 65,000 federal workers. Congressman, welcome. You just heard AOC there. Do you agree with her that Democrats are looking for a long-term solution? They don't want any kind of a quick Band-Aid fix?
Well, I think her political analysis is right there for sure. And a couple points in addition, keep in mind that when it came to extending the tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans, the House Republicans and the Senate Republicans had no problem extending those permanently. Whereas here, we can't even get them to extend the ACA tax credits that would help Americans across the board with respect to maintaining health care coverage. So I think that's definitely a problem. The other part, too, is a practical one. You know, for companies that are having to sort through this, a one-year extension doesn't fix their problem of figuring out what the environment's going to be, especially when you layer on top of that the $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid, the biggest in the history of the country. So if you kick the can down the road another year, which is what they did with the Medicaid cuts or tried to, the business community is not going to wait until the 11th hour. They're going to start making moves with respect to that, just like they already are. That's why some of these hospitals, for example, are already starting to close or wind down. So it doesn't fix the problem. I know politically, it might help the House Republicans and the Senate Republicans. But as far as Americans out there figuring out what their health care coverage is going to be and how much it's going to cost, it doesn't fix the problem for them.
So it seems like Democrats are very united on this. They're digging in their heels. But is there anything, and if so, what would it be that would persuade Democrats to say, you know, it's the right time. We're going to try to negotiate reopening the government now. Is there something Republicans could offer to get you there?
I mean, showing up would be the first step. You know, we can't even get these guys to come back to town. I did a little count the other day. Speaker Johnson has had the House Republicans here for 8 days only since July 25th. Think about that. They've only been here for 8 days. We can't get them to come back. I think they've been gone since they passed the DOA bill that they sent over to the Senate that they knew wasn't going to go anywhere. That's going up on I think, that was September 19th, if I recall correctly. So, you know, in the time that we've been waiting for them to come back to town, we probably could have made a lot of headway if we had actual negotiations going on to try and work out an approach to resolving this. But he's, you know, they're hiding out. They're on vacation. They're playing golf. I don't know what they're doing, but they're certainly not doing their jobs here in Washington.
No one has told me, and I hadn't figured out 8 days since July. That's long. Just checking. Congress is still getting paid, right? No matter what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Although,
okay.
You know, they're not going to pay federal government employees, but, you know, who've been furloughed and the like, but they're paying themselves. But they're the one group, the House Republicans, they're the one group that's not doing their jobs and refusing to do their jobs. If anybody doesn't get paid, it's the House Republicans.
So C-SPAN has announced Speaker Mike Johnson and Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries are going to debate each other on the network. But Speaker Johnson appeared to add a bit of a stipulation on Fox News. Take a listen.
I'll debate Hakeem Jeffries anywhere, anytime, as soon as we get the government open.
Oh, yeah, that was it. As soon as we get the government open. So would the American people benefit seeing these two leaders debate in the current moment we're in, or would it just be more finger pointing and blaming the other party?
Yes and yes, probably. But I think it's important for the American people to see and decide for themselves. And, you know, why you can't debate your position until the government opens. In other words, until the decision's already been made. That doesn't make any sense. And, you know, he knows it doesn't make any sense. I think the bottom line is they know they really don't have a leg to stand on with respect to what they've done with the health care cuts that they've made and the impact that's going to have. Millions of Americans are going to be negatively impacted. In fact, they might lose their health care coverage entirely. And he knows that, and he doesn't want to have to stand in front of the American people and acknowledge that. So he'll keep ducking. I guess they'll stay out of town as long as they can. But sooner or later, they're going to have to come back here and do their job.
You represent about 65,000 federal workers. What are they telling you and the way this has been impacting them with the furloughs and the RIFs?
Yeah, I just had a group come in a little earlier today, actually, and the impact is significant. It's very damaging. People are, you know, the paychecks are stopping. Their bank accounts, they're having to tap into savings and the like, sometimes retirement accounts. So it's tough. But to a person so far, to my surprise, they are all, hey, stay strong. We understand the magnitude of this moment. We understand how big this fight is. We understand how many folks like us need to have health care coverage. You're fighting the right fight. Stay strong, and we will.
Congressman Glenn Ivey, thank you so much for your time.